Hey, good morning. So this is the Who Dares Wins podcast, and I'm back. So I recently been listening to some books, and as I was listening to those books, I was thinking about some previous episodes that I did on this particular podcast. And since my last podcast episode on Who Dares Wins, um, I started another one called the Holy Fire Podcast, and I think another one, I'm not sure. But as I did the Holy Fire Podcast, what I realized in listening to these books, one a book by Matthew Perry, rest in peace, who just recently passed away, and also Britney Spears book that I just recently finished. Just finished it yesterday. Um, and so, if you've been listening to the show, and I feel like probably you have, I'm sure you didn't like unsubscribe me or delete me from your phone or whatnot. Um, One of the things that I realized is that way back when I did the episode on Free Britney using Song of Solomon chapter 5, more importantly than Song of Solomon was that just really like talking about the Free Britney campaign and like the documentary that was available through I think it's New York Times on like Hulu or one of those platforms. Um it really was very telling, and yeah, it helped me to understand her career more. And so as I read her book or like listened to her book, I listened to it on Audible. I was like, whoa, like without really knowing Britney Spears, I felt like I had, in a way, like an idea that I knew Britney Spears. Like I like understood the situation, and I was so stoked that I shared it with my best friend, who's also on another episode from Who Dares Wins called his name's Derek, and I was just like, yo, man, like I was just listening to her book, and like I'm about to finish it, and I'm thinking about that episode that I did, and and when I originally did the episode, I featured songs, and at that time you could only um have episodes on Spotify if you used music from Spotify's catalog. Obviously I'm making this on podcasters for Spotify, and so it's like connected with the Anchor app and these different things. Now like sort of absolved by Spotify, and yeah, so I just like um was sorry, I had a call. Got thrown off topic. Getting back to it, I realized that I felt like I really had like some stuff there, right? And I felt like I communicated my heart, I communicated my concern, my interest. And as I was reading Britney Spears' book, and obviously, like I'm a Swiftie too, so I really care about and appreciate Taylor Swift. Like I'm not like obsessed with her, um, as I think like I'm not obsessed with Britney Spears either, but I just find her really her story is intriguing. Same with Selena Gomez or Janet Jackson or a lot of these stars have compelling stories. And so I shared that with my friend, and my friend was like, literally, like, yeah, man, like, you're a critical thinking person, and you've always had Britney's back. Like, as far as I can remember, like, you've had her back for the longest time. And I'm like, wow, yeah. And so I'm listening to the episode, and it's so funny that on the episode, I talk about her album Blackout, Britney Spears' album Blackout. And in the book, her favorite album that she made was Blackout. And I felt like she was really communicating in the book that that was like when she felt that was the most authentic she was showing up to music and to creating music and herself, and yeah, and so I just really thought about that, and I was like, wow, there's something there. Like there's something there, and so I was like, hey, you know what? I think rather than like continuing to start like more podcasts, and I haven't really like gained, I haven't really gained more listeners or like more interviews or anything like that. I generally do this, on my own, like from home, and just share. And so I was like, you know what? Who dares wins? It's like it's really hard to understand what God is doing or like how to understand how God is communicating. But I really feel with a deep, sincere peace, I feel like, wow, yeah, it's just about who dares wins. It's about doing it afraid, you know? This podcast is about risk. It's about stepping out there. And since this podcast, I started it in 2018. Um, since then, now you can have music in your podcast, and it does go everywhere. And you don't need to just have an exclusive relationship with Spotify in order to listen. Um, there's a little more creativity, and the and like how I like put RSS feeds and stuff like that, so that it's available on more platforms. So it's not just like simple, but it's not you know it's not impossible. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say I'm back. I wanted to say that if you haven't checked out my Britney Spears episode, please check it out. I think it's uh, let's see, what is the number of the episode? Um, yeah, so it's episode 35. Episode 35. I'm probably gonna repost it. But yeah, hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part. And I think going forward, like my episodes will be shorter, and I hope I'll get right to it and develop content and at least a listening experience that adds to your life and adds to your walk with God, adds to your relationship with people and people around you. Um, and like I said, from the very beginning, you know, faith is about risk. Stepping into business, it's about taking a risk. Stepping into doing a podcast, stepping into doing anything that you feel that God has called you to do takes risk. And the way, as a Christian, I spell risk is Faith. Faith. So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Definitely check out um, Brittany's book. Um, and I'm also want to say too that from that episode, the Free Britney episode, she was successful. She's no longer in her conservatorship, so she's a free woman now, and I like to think that, like, in a way, just by doing that episode, not that it reached millions of people. I don't know, maybe it had like 80 listens or something, but like in a small way, I'm like, wow, like, you as a listener, me as a creator, was a part of her emancipation from that that economic relationship with her father. And when you read the book, it's not just about being in control of her finances. It really is about being in control of her life. And so, I just thank God that yeah, like that she's in control of her own life now, and she's free, and she's free to communicate and to pray and to just do whatever she wants to do. She's a grown woman. But I love that when you read the book, you're gonna see when you get to like chapter 48, there's like 50 chapters. She really starts to say how the fight for freedom from her conservatorship really, really brought her to her knees, really brought her to praying and really talking to God. And yeah, I'm not going to say like what her faith is or whatnot, but yeah, it's really good. And okay, so the um, the name The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. And the other book I was reading was by Matthew Perry, rest in peace. Love Matthew Perry, love Chandler, love Friends. I talk so much smack about Friends for so long, but it actually is a great show, and it's helped me through so many things, and really helped me with how I get along with people and things of that nature. It's hilarious. It's just a hilarious show, you know. Okay, so Matthew Perry's book is called Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. Obviously, his journey and struggle for freedom from alcoholism and drugs and alcohol. Um, so yeah, so that's Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. And the Britney Spears book is called The Woman in Me. So thank you so much for listening. Yeah, please, hit the notifications, and I'll be sharing more with you as I go along. Thank you so much for listening. Who dares wins. Take care.